Welcome to My Creative Corner 3, a podcast about quilting, crafting, creativity, with a dash of garden, chatting about current interests and life in my northern town. You can find show notes at mycreativecorner3.com. You can also find all of my social media, how to purchase a virtual cup of coffee, and all events on the website. Please feel free to stop by and leave a comment. I really appreciate everyone who listens. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome to the podcast. November has been cold and windy and snowy. Yes, it's been snowy. We got a foot of snow right around the 1st or 2nd of November, right after Halloween. In 24 hours, right around 11 or 12 inches of snow fell. We had lots of unfinished business, shall we say, outside. And the only hope we had is that the temperatures would warm up and the snow would go away. And that is what happened. It did warm up to be in the 40s or 50s by last weekend. The snow melted, and neither of us were able to get the leaves done or do too much because it was so wet on the ground. We did get the fairy garden picked up and buttoned up for the winter. All the little houses are stored for the winter months in our little shed. And then we waited. The leaves really never changed on a couple of our maple trees, but since it snowed and it's getting cold at night, they're starting to turn yellow and fall. It's very strange that they didn't turn their bright oranges and reds. I don't know. There's been a lot of speculation on what's going on with the leaf color, and I'm going to probably guess that we had a very warm fall. It wasn't as bright or vivid, and the trees didn't all turn at once, which usually happens, like over a 2-week period. So we waited. The wind did come and dry the ground out. My husband had a light day at work, and for the first time in many a year, I did not have to do much of anything for leaf pickup. And he did it all between the tractor and the big leaf blower. He did it all himself in the afternoon while I was working, and I'll have to say I love that tractor. I am so glad I didn't have to do that job. It's a nasty job. One of these days we may get a little vacuum system where you can bag it yourself. Not all the leaves fell, but a good mountain did fall down. And today is Thursday, November 11th, Veterans Day. And I have it off from work. And very first thing this morning, I heard the city come and take those leaves away. Because after they came, it started to snow again. And then it's warmed up. It's now very, very fall-like, late fall. The wind is just howling outside, and we are supposed to get snow over the next several days. It may or may not stay, but that's all right. The garden, I have decided we are going to leave it as is until next spring, and then we'll cut down all the tall plants that survive, the sticks and stalks and brown bits. But the birds will have something to sit on. They have enjoyed the feeder. So what I have seen so far is in our travels, not all in my yard yet, but the snowbirds or dark-eyed juncos, I have seen them in the eastern UP, and they'll be here soon. I've seen our friends, the chickadees and sparrows, nuthatch and cardinals and blue jays. I'm hoping that I'll see the woodpecker come back. We had both a downy and a pileated last year, and we've got the suet up in that feeder. And of course, our friends, the squirrels, are robbing us of seeds. They really are. But, poor guys, let them get some food before they tuck up for these cold days. I don't know if they really hibernate, but they do um, go into some sort of a not true hibernation, but a state where they're slowing down and waiting for warmer days. So we only have one project left, and that is we can't find the nails for it yet. We're going to go back to Home Depot, but the soffit has fascia on the garage that has fallen down, and birds got in that last summer, the starlings, and made a nest. Uh, but we can't fix it without the right nails or screws. I can't remember. I think my husband said nails. It's his project, and he'll have to get another person who's steady on a ladder. But that has to be done if we can find the right stuff. Oh my gosh, supply chain issues. Let's talk about that now. You noticing any? Oh my gosh, it's worse now than at the peak of last year when supply chain problems were down. But yeah, I'm not seeing much toilet paper at the store. There's some, but not like there was. We have a supply from Costco. I noticed there's limiting amounts that you can buy when you go to the store for certain things. And distilled water, seriously, I have to use that for my CPAP machine. And yeah, you can only buy 1 or 2 gallons at a time. So annoying, but we will do our part. And, turkeys looked like there weren't too many last week, but I think this week is the big sale. I don't know what we're doing for Thanksgiving. We're kind of waiting to see what everybody's work schedule is and how everybody's health is. And we may do a tour of visiting people separately just because that's the way it may work out. I hate to talk about COVID, but I will. It's everywhere up here, and our hospitals are full. People at work, there's been lots of very sick people, both with the fall, cough, cold, and flu, as well as COVID. So, yeah, so far everybody has made it through okay. But yeah, so I got my booster and my flu vaccine, and I'm feeling good. So, with all of that business going on, what have we been up to? Well, last weekend it was too wet to do the leaves, and we couldn't find anything to fix that fascia that fell down. So I decided I wasn't going to clean the house much, and I was puttering around with my crafts. And then Sunday, it was an unseasonably warm day. It was 60 degrees. And it was sunny, and it wasn't too windy. And it was like, we get this thing here when it's like, it's going to be the last big sunny day for a long time. We decided to hop in the car, and we drove 2 hours north, maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes north in the eastern Upper Peninsula, and went to Aquaman Falls. I had my hiking sticks, and we walked 1.5 miles. Got some great videos. I did a self-care Sunday about the hike, mostly just listening to the power of water just pouring over the falls. It was so much water. And it is the color of beer, a light beer or tea from the tannic acid, according to the sign. It was just wonderful. It was a great day. It felt good to be out in the sun. It felt good to be walking, and that prompted me to be more motivated to do some exercise. I haven't done tons, but I'm getting there, trying. But I need to go out, since I have today off, go out in the garage gym and get rowing on my machine. I do that as a reminder to myself. Don't let the day get away from you. But I am not a morning exerciser, and I'm going to do a few minutes this afternoon. But anyway, I digressed. Aquaman Falls was absolutely beautiful. If you would like to see what it looks like, I have a full video, several minutes, on YouTube, which is Vicki Holloway, and it's a self-care Sunday, and the thumbnail shows a waterfall. I have mixed feelings about this, but a few weeks ago, I saw a video of a kayaker going over those falls. And I thought that is just really not the best because the falls are pretty tall. Now, this is a large fall. It's the second largest fall this side of the Mississippi, according to the plaque at Aquaman Falls, outside of Niagara Falls. We went to the upper falls, and there's lots to do there. Um, if you go to the lower falls, you can rent a boat and go out amongst the falls. There's lots and lots of hiking trails, and there's lots of photo opportunities. There's picnicking, and at the upper falls, there is a brew pub because you are near a very tiny area of called Paradise, Michigan, and there's just not a lot. Once you get outside of Tequamanon and Paradise, you're actually quite a ways from any food, clothing. You can go to gas stations and party stores, but I mean, you can't go get jackets if you forgot your jacket. You can't find a grocery. They're quite a ways away. So you need to come prepared. So we usually have bottles of water. They do have flushing toilets there, thank goodness. But this is what I wanted to know. How far is the drop? It is more than, I think, 50 feet from the top of the upper falls to the bottom. That's the drop, and it's more than 200 feet across. So a couple weeks ago, a kayaker went over that. There's video. Several people got video of this kayaker dropping 50 feet. I thought, that's just really kind of bizarre because if you ran into trouble, there's a lot of rocks down there. You're a really long ways. Like I said, for, food, you can't go to the grocery store. I mean, the nearest rescue is probably St. Ignace or Sault Ste. Marie, and you're looking at quite a ways away. I thought that's just kind of weird. It's not illegal because I looked it up because I thought, why are they letting people do that? This is like the second or third kayaker in the last few years that have gone over the falls. And there's more and more deaths in the UP because people are doing more and more daredevil things. More and more people are trying to lean over. There's big signs that says danger, do not lean over the rails. A couple people fallen at pictured rocks because there's no fence there, and you get too close to the edge. That's a couple 100 feet drop into Lake Superior. So anyway, I thought, number one, that's just kind of unsafe. And number two, you're putting other people's lives at risk to try to rescue you. And number three, I don't know if that's just good for the environment. To be having people more and more trying to paddle down these rivers and kayaking over the falls. But, who am I to say? I just wouldn't do it, and I don't know how anybody could help them if they were down 50 feet in this gorge that is really hard to get to the platform. It's 94 steps, and it's steep. If you want to go do the gorge walk and other viewing platforms at the upper falls, it's even more steps. And yeah, it's a lot of hiking. So anyway, I'm not so sure, my kayaking friends, if I would make any suggestions to try to kayak over to Aquaman Falls. It probably could be very, very dangerous and cold, especially this time of year. But I just digress. So anyway, it was a lot of fun because I haven't been there in a while, and I do like to go walking and looking at the falls. It was a beautiful drive. One of these days, I hope to see a wolf in the UP again. When I was in high school, when I was in college, I went to school up in the Sioux for 1 year, and I did see a wolf in a very remote area of I-75, and no one believed me until someone hit one of those wolves, and taxidermy is in the rest area, and sure enough, that's exactly what I saw. So, no Bigfoot either, just saying, I don't think there's any Bigfoots up there to look at. Bigfoot? Yeah, Bigfoots. So we had a great time. And then this week I have a long weekend because Thursday is Veterans Day, and that is a day off from work. I decided I didn't want to go back from one day on Friday. Took tomorrow off, so I have a nice 4-day weekend. So, what have I been up to? A lot of sewing. Just a lot of sewing. No long arming. Just haven't got the bug, the urge to load a quilt on the frame, and I think I need to get actually to the store this weekend and buy another batting. I don't even know what I have. I don't think I have another batting for the quilts I have here. But that's the other part. I got to go see what I have, match it up with the top that I want to do, and then try to get to the store. So, sewing. I lost my train of thought there. Sorry. I have done, I finished the Halloween quilt, the Bats and Boo quilt top, borders and all. They look pretty darn good. I liked that busy pumpkin border that I auditioned for parts of the quilt. I thought maybe it would look good in the pumpkin. It did not. It did not have, it was too big of a print, and it didn't have enough contrast to the gray background. But it looks great as an outer border because I used a lot of solids and a few fussy cuts in the quilt. I just love it. I thought it turned out really, really great. So Bats and Boo is on the stack to quilt. And I have, probably 4 of my own quilts to do. And I have also been working on the quilt blocks from the class I took about color, cohesion, and contrast from Diane at Stash Bandit. I chose to do the X Plus block, and if you go to last podcast, there's a link to her website and that free pattern. So I've been mixing up some fabrics in different colors. I even got my color wheel working to try to show me some ideas. What colors would look good together? What colors will not look good together? And trying to do split complementary. I'm trying to learn about color and trying to figure out color palettes. I've made some real amazing blocks, and there's a lot of experimental blocks that I'm like, maybe, I don't know, they may not hit the mark, but they're all going in a quilt. It's just a matter of how many do I want to make? I don't know. I think I have about 20 of those blocks made. I think I'm going to just keep going, adding a few more, and then we'll work it out. I'm looking at them right now because I took them off the design wall because I've been playing around with another project. But yeah, there's a nice color palette that's blues, greens, teals, orange, a little bit of purple, and I think it's I like it. I really do. And I don't have a whole lot of confidence, but I'm getting more confident because I have lots of scraps, and I just would like to keep going with using up what I have here and thinning down the old supply here for crafts, and then just kind of also thinking about using what I have to make Christmas presents or some gifts. I'm not sure about Christmas. See, back to the supply chain thing. What about shipping it? Will that get there in time? I don't know. So I'm just going to keep making things, and I may just send people stuff just because I probably won't get it all done by Christmas. It's already, the 11th of November, and I haven't even gotten started on Christmas ideas. So I think I'm going to just keep doing scrap quilts. So the X Plus is the one I'm working on right now. Excuse me. And then I also got a 10-inch stacker of Gnome Antics from Halo Inspirations Quilt Shop. And I'm playing around with some ideas with the gnome fabric. I love gnomes. I just absolutely love them. They're super cute, and they're festive, and they're wintry, they're Christmassy, but they don't have to be totally Christmas. And since I like fairies, I also like gnomes, but I do like fairies. The whole ideas of fairies a little bit better. But the Gnome Antics is super fun, and it's got reds, blacks, all kinds of green prints, gnomes and Christmas stuff, female, male gnomes. There's cute little couple on there, snowflakes. So some taupes are in there too. So playing around with some ideas. And when I have more than a couple ideas kicking around, I'll share them. But I am playing around with the Christmas fabric, and it makes me feel like, the holidays are going to be for real this year. They always are for real every year, but yeah, better than last year, I think. Um, don't have my Christmas decor up. I still have fall stuff up and more Thanksgiving decor out on the table. My Thanksgiving tablecloth is out. Just I'm going to hang on to fall for a while. Probably more toward the 1st of December will I'll change over to the winter stuff. So speaking of gift giving, I have decided after watching half of Jennifer Maker's Maker Academy weekend, where you can watch the free videos for 24 hours. I did buy the VIP pass. It was at not the full rate. Right now, I think if you were to buy that, it's $69 or something, and I got it for less than that. But what's super great is I just got some great ideas on making Christmas decorations, ornaments, but what I really, really wanted to know was how to do things like, say you have Grandma's recipe and her handwriting. How do you put that into a project? And I just watched a class doing it. Now it is a more advanced, probably more complicated project than anything I've ever tried, but that may be something I want to play around with over the winter. I don't know they'll have time to try to do something for everybody with handwriting, but there's several things I could do. You can cut the letters big and chunky out of heat transfer vinyl. You can press it onto a towel. You could do things with markers and infusible ink. There's even an engraving tool, but I haven't purchased that, so I don't really know how well it would work. But there's lots of ideas, and I really, really did enjoy taking those classes, watching them, rewatching them, and learning, because there's been several really big updates to Cricut, and I just realized that I can take photographs of my stickers that are like watercolors, and I want to make them into stickers. I had Renee do some outlining for me on a program she has, but I think I might be able to do it for myself, where it can automatically remove the background. Then you can put a border on it. So they've updated the software enough through Cricut Design Space subscription to making it more and more worth the $10 or $12 a month that I pay for it. So you can get clip art and samples of other images, not samples, we can download images and things like that, but they have a lot more advanced features to Design Space that I'm super thrilled about, because I was stuck. I really had some things. I want to make some stickers. I have a great logo. I have some great little watercolor fun things that I did, and I put the flowers and ink on top, and I thought they'd make some great stickers for my planner. And I have figured out how to do it all automatically on my Cricut. Use a printer to print them out, and then the Cricut will cut it perfectly. So great. So I feel like I have reached a point where all of the things that I really, really wanted to learn on the Cricut, I have knowledge of how to do it. Now I just have to take time to practice it. So that's what I'm going to try. I'm going to try doing some of the handwriting things over the winter. It's kind of complicated, and you got to do a lot of steps to get your image even ready to print, but the infusible ink markers are fascinating. So that may be something I try in the future. In the meantime, I think I'm going to make some of the simpler projects just for fun, and probably update my Christmas a little bit. I don't know. I've been really in a slump for the last few years. I haven't put up my big Christmas tree. Maybe I will this year. Maybe I'll just decorate my Norfolk Island pine. But I want to change my ornaments up. Some of the ornaments are really old and they're pretty, but they're very sentimental. And I don't always want to feel all the sentiments. So I may do like a themed tree and a little more themed tree and not get all of the old decorations out because I don't want to. We'll see. I have lots of time to work on things like that, especially if I'm not making gifts to. Whoops, I turned TikTok on. Sorry, people. I didn't mean to do that. But there's some really cute ideas also on TikTok about making things with mini ornaments and Cricut ideas. So there's lots and lots of things I can try. The other thing that I have been doing, my sister and I have been doing yarn stuff. So our creative souls, my sister and I have been doing all kinds of things. She is crocheting granny squares, and that is going to be my next project too. I have purchased big skeins of nice fluffy yarn from Michaels, and they gave me, I had earned enough rewards to get a $20 gift certificate. So I bought, not a gift certificate, a promotion anyway. So for $10, I bought 10 skeins of yarn and had it shipped to my house. And I think I'm going to do granny squares out of it or crochet a shawl. I'm not real sure. But the granny squares, you can make a cardigan with granny squares. Super easy, to be honest. And I don't want the hood on it because I don't need that extra weight. I want a collarless one. I think I will go with that. Also, I've seen old quilts repurposed into quilt jackets, but I don't know that I'm advanced enough in my sewing or have enough confidence in my pattern adjusting to make it fit right. But the other thing is, gosh, cutting out quilts to wear as a jacket still kind of hurts my heart a little bit. So anyway, yarn. I think I'm going to make myself a yarn granny square cardigan, I think. And the other question I have in my brain is, do I want to use all matching and have it be this pink blush tweed cardigan, or do I want to use that yarn for something else and do like a scrap yarn granny squares with all different kinds of yarn and make it a brightly colored coat of many colors? The coat of many colors kind of appeals to me more than the matchy pink blush tweed. So we'll see. Currently, what I am doing is I have been loom knitting since I went on vacation. I tore out all of the things that I had done prior to November 1st because, well, I just didn't like it. So I found better patterns and I've made 2 headbands that I really like, and you pinch them in the middle and wrap yarn around it, and it makes like a bow look or more of a turban look on your head. And headbands, ear warmers, headbands do way better for my hair than a hat. But I'm also going to loom knit a hat with my peacock colored yarn. And currently I'm making striped, fingerless, heavy, chunky, made out of chunky yarn. They're fingerless gloves that match one of the headbands that is more of a, it's blues and purples and dusty gray, and that will, they will have stripes of pink and burgundy in it. And I think that will be a nice set. I might keep that for myself and wear over the winter. And I just think the fingerless gloves pattern is coming along quite nicely, and it fits my hands. I have big hands and wrists, and yeah, I'm loving this loom knitting. I'm really distracted right now because a gust of wind is so loud. I don't know if you can hear it, but it blew all these leaves in the window, and I'm like, what is going on out there? Yeah, gale force winds are coming. So loom knitting has been a great, exciting thing. And what I like about it is kind of like why I like the Cricut. These are like almost instant gratification projects. And every once in a while, you've got to step away from the year-long or 2-year-long quilt projects, and because some of them take me that long, and I would like to do something a little faster. So I'm excited about the loom knitting, and I thought maybe I'll make several different colors and sets just because I like them. I don't know that other people would necessarily like them, but I do, and I can have them to go with different outfits that I'm wearing. And I don't even know if I have a winter jacket anymore that the snaps work. And so it's nice to have extra layers like scarves, hats, and even fingerless gloves. So crocheting is on my thing to do next, but I'm going to do the loom knitting until I decide I don't need to be doing any more. Continuing on with my Silk and Sonder, I did do another 90-day journal subscription, and this month's theme is compassion. And I'm finding it very, very interesting because I feel like I do have a lot of compassion for other people, and being a nurse, we do a lot of compassion at work. But when it comes to showing yourself the same, that's very interesting. So today's daily ritual, which is their daily little meditation that you listen to, was about time management, which I am all about the time management. But it really flipped it on its head, saying, are you managing your time so well that you don't have time to breathe? You don't have time to live your life the way you want? How do you spend your time? So the person who owns Silk and Sonder recommended a book. Don't know if I can read it because I've checked books out of the library recently, and to be honest, I haven't read them. So I don't know, but if I can find this on an audiobook, it's by Oliver Burkeman. It's called 4,000 Weeks: Time Management for Mortals. Basically, we only get 24 hours in a day, and the average person lives 4,000 weeks. And if I'm at midlife at age 55, that's being generous, that means I have 2,000 weeks average potentially left. What do I want to do with my 2,000 weeks? And when you put it that way, it's like a big wake up call. How many checks do I need on that list? How many gold stars do I really need? So instead of doing this massive list, which I had for the 4-day weekend, if I get to dabbling in some of it and completing one or two things and, a little house cleaning here and there, and I want to do a little baking or something, then I'm going to be happy. I want to just kind of relax and be more present in living the life, the creative life. And that can be any kind of creativity. And maybe watch a football game and not feel like I have to check everything off that list. I am the worst at over planning time off, and I've decided I don't want to do that anymore. This weekend I decided I'm not doing that. I'm tired, and the changing of the clocks, I don't know about you, but it just really kicked my behind. I have been going to bed early and hardly staying up late, past 9. Maybe going to bed my regular time is 10:30. It's been difficult, and it's only an hour. What is up with that? But it has to do with it's dark by 5 o'clock. It's when we went to Aquaman Falls, we were like, whoa. The sun starts setting between 3 and 3:30. 4 o'clock, you're really getting low on daylight. And by 5, it's pretty twilight area. And by 6, there is 0 daylight out. And that will be getting shorter and shorter until Christmas time. And then, we'll hit the winter solstice and it will elongate again. But we are in the very long, dark nights and short days right now. And that's probably what's making me tired. It was just rough. So this week I'm feeling like I'm kind of getting back into staying up to normal bedtime. And I'm going to take this weekend to do some compassionate things to myself and in things I want to do and enjoy and not feel like I got to be going 1,000 miles an hour. Work is bad enough. It's been very busy at work, very, very busy. And I feel like I'm juggling two and three things, and I just don't want to do that in my time off anymore. Sometimes work is, before the pandemic would be kind of slower. Um, and so I felt like I had more energy to do more on my time off, maybe. Um, but not now. I don't know if it's my age or if I'm just changing mindsets. Um, but anyway, I just don't want to be doing that much juggling all the time. And so when I watch a show, I'm trying to watch a show and not scroll my phone at the same time. And when I want to listen to a podcast, I might be doing some knitting or maybe some easy sewing, but I'm just trying not to feel like I'm fractured all the time in my concentration. Maybe I'm slowing down with my ADHD things. Maybe. Who knows? The other thing that I have been really looking at is, how much time I am scrolling and doing social media. And I'm finding that I'm off Facebook because I don't know why. It's just old. Instagram is I like the stories part because I think what appeals to me is the aspect like TikTok. And I love TikTok. But you got to be careful when you go there because you can get on some weird stuff. But the cottage core things and the crafts and all of that is so appealing to me. So I have hoarded a whole bunch of wee yogurt jars in the limited edition of the flower prints. And I think this weekend I'm going to do some dyeing the jars on the inside, which I've talked about. But I had to really laugh because there was a TikToker who was going on about, he's an artist and he paints, and so he likes to save jars. And I'm like, wait, there's other people that save jars like me? Yeah, you could do this, you could do this. You get 10,000 things you could do with a jar. And his significant other goes, but why? You're not doing any of that. That jar has sat in the back of your car in a box for 2 years. And he goes, I know, but it's a good jar. And it kind of goes along with, having a good box from Amazon. You can't hoard them all. But these are cute. These are little. I'm going to do some experiments, maybe make some little flower arrangements. They're definitely a spring summery feel. So I don't know that they will do great Christmas things, but you can get lids for them. And I'm going to try to use them in organizing my stuff around here. The little things like buttons and little tiny things that I'm constantly losing. And, you know, maybe I'll make a fairy garden world inside of one. Who knows? They're so cute. They're so cute. I love miniatures, and those little wee yogurt jars just fit the bill. Absolutely. So if you have some ideas or if you've seen some cool craft things with wee yogurt jars or jars in general, send them my way because I am looking for some good ideas for upcycling the wee yogurt jars. But first, I'm going to dye a bunch of them with the Mod Podge and food coloring and then putting them in the oven to bake in there. I did that experiment a couple months ago, and I think I've done more research and I can make it even better with some of these dyed jars for the ones that are special edition because I think they look better with a colored inside, and I don't want to paint them because I think the paint will chip. I think the Mod Podge will hold up better, especially if you want to put like dried flowers in them or something. So that's the things I've been up to. Settling down for the winter that's coming and the snow this weekend. I dug out my slippers and making the knit hat, and I'm making the headbands and fingerless gloves. I might make another scarf to match my headband and glove set. We'll see. Definitely crochet granny squares is coming, as well as shawls and cardigans. They're fun to do because you can do them while you're sitting and watching TV. I like to have my hands busy, and I like to do these mindless, simple things because then I can pay attention to the show better. Even though I was talking about not multitasking as much, but I think I can. It's better to do things like hand sewing, but right now I'm into yarn because it's cold, and I'm also getting ready to bind the mammoth massive t-shirt quilt because it's not 100 degrees in this house, and that's a hot job to stitch the binding to the front, and then I'll start hand binding it. And then that long project, which started at the probably about June of the pandemic first year. What was it? 2020. I wanted to have it done by this summer, and I did get the quilting done, but I need to get the binding on now. And so, with that, that's what I've been up to. Let me know what you've been up to. Have you seen any good, interesting craft things? Some that are maybe cricket related, some not. What's the weather like where you're at? Um, Overall, we're still trying to figure out what we're doing for the holidays, and we have no plans. It's a little unsettling because normally, pre-pandemic, this would all be sorted out, but it's not. And, I think I'm just learning to go with the flow day by day. Make a loose plan for the week or two ahead and trying to stay healthy and avoid all of the things that are going around. Fingers crossed, I won't catch that gastroenteritis, yuck, or the cold. I had a sinus earlier in the fall and don't want the cold. And of course, any of the other things. Have a most wonderful week. Take time for yourself and let me know some of the things that you do. Not necessarily for self-care, but just trying to be more compassionate to yourself. I am trying to not be as harsh on being perfectionistic over crafts or housekeeping or whatever. And the other thing is I'm undoing this whole notion of having to be multitasking all the time. I don't need to. Not at home anyway. So you have a most wonderful week. Be creative and quilt on, everyone.